Welcome, guys, to the Building Thriving Lifestyles podcast. I am your host, Eir Giladottir, and I love to grow better humans by challenging myself and others, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. On today's episode, we are going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about what they are and what they're not. And we're going to talk about 4 things that you might gain from establishing boundaries for yourself. Why do we need boundaries? Have you ever, my dear friend, come to a point in your life where you have an uncomfortable feeling after socializing or hanging out with a person? Maybe you're the type who wakes up in the morning and you're feeling completely overwhelmed by tasks and responsibilities, or perhaps you are feeling extremely burned out, like you never really catch a break. You might also be the type of person who has this like 1 or 2 people in their network that just keeps making you extremely uncomfortable. Maybe there is a client communication that just keeps sending you through the roof, or perhaps there is someone in your family that you are kind of struggling with. And now you're here, you're sitting kind of back and you're thinking, okay, I feel kind of stuck. I have come to say yes to way too many favors, arrangements, parties, and other projects that don't feel right to me. And I have way too many outstanding obligations with colleagues, friends, and family. How do you feel about saying no in general? Well, believe me, if you're feeling any of these things, well, you're not alone. We've kind of all been there. Personally, I've definitely been there too. I've been through those kind of rough patches, especially in the beginning of my career as a coach and a personal trainer. I've been through these kind of like unmotivated times where I feel like everyone else comes first and I come very, very last, and there's just not enough time in the day to do the things that I'm passionate about. So this would be times where I describe myself as more surviving and not actually thriving. And if you feel like you are in this type of situation often, one of the key skills that you need to start working on to avoid this type of an overwhelm is to start to set healthy boundaries for yourself. So here's the thing. Boundaries is a massive taboo word, and many associate it with something negative like pushing people away or being unreasonable to others. But rest assured, that's not what I mean when I say boundaries. And I want to talk about a little bit today what you might gain from setting boundaries for yourself. Here's the thing. Boundaries is a healthy way to make space for yourself in this world. Boundaries are not about shutting people off or saying no, but more about offering people alternatives and options that make you feel at ease. To set boundaries, according to the dictionary, means to drawing a line that separates you, that is your physical space, mental space, your feelings, needs, and responsibilities away from others, and making it really clear what is within your control and what you're willing to take on, and what is not within your control and what is not your problem, basically. Boundaries are essential because this is the way that we communicate and tell the people around us how we would like to be treated and what's acceptable with us and what is not. It's super common that people who lack boundaries describe themselves as people pleasers. And along with being a people pleaser comes this like inevitable feeling of either being frustrated with too much things on your plate or things that don't interest you on your plate. You might also feel like you are stuck and that you just can't catch a break, or that people are kind of like overstepping and stepping on you when navigating this world and socializing. So the way out of this situation is to start communicating with others how you would like to be treated to, spoken to, and sometimes you also have to set limits to what you're willing to give. So let's dive into 4 benefits that you might get from starting to establish boundaries for yourself. The first benefit is that boundaries encourage authenticity. Setting the right boundaries gives you the freedom to start being more yourself, your true, authentic self, without the fear of being judged, not accepted, not loved, or not liked. So this is kind of opposite from people pleasing, because setting boundaries allows you to start feeling your own feelings and start to express them, which in return helps you do more of the things that you like, so other people start to see you for the things that you like. Number 2 is that boundaries are the essence of self-care. You've probably heard all those famous sayings saying you can't give what you don't have, put the oxygen mask on you before you assist others, or you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, this is true, and I can't even stress how much this is true. Because in order to give anything to the people around you, the people that you love and that you respect, you have to have a space where you can exist. The boundaries actually free you from people pleasing. They allow you, by creating space for yourself, to let go of worrying about what people might be thinking or feeling about you. And you start to be able to say no, or let's do this instead, without overextending yourself, which later obviously leads to you feeling fatigued or burnt out. The third thing is that boundaries, they create a safe place for you and for the people around you. With boundaries, people may take advantage of you, not because they are evil, but because they have no clue what you are willing to do and what not. So this is because you haven't set any limits to them. Boundaries intend to bring more safety and comfort for you, to create a safe place for you and for the people that you love. They provide mental and emotional safety because now you and the people around you are able to speak up on whatever feels uncomfortable to them. Believe me, it's not just for you, it's also for those around you. And that leads me straight into the fourth one, which is that boundaries create realistic expectations. Whether it's with your friend, your spouse, your neighbor, your boss, or any other relationship, people start to know what is expected and what they can expect from you. So when you clearly communicate what your boundaries are, then people know how to behave around you, and they don't tend to overstep your boundaries as much. When the expectations aren't communicated, they can't be met. So therefore, a lot of resentment and anger can grow in your relationships when you have no boundaries set for your people around you. Like, there is no way that you can take on every project, attend every birthday party, and give unlimited amount of gifts. Like, you're gonna have to set your priorities somewhere, and when you start communicating them out, people will respect it. So after listening to this, how are we feeling about boundaries? Still scary, still taboo, or are we feeling a little bit more positive towards them? Another thing that I would really like to know is, how would you rate your boundary skills? Would you describe yourself as an expert at boundaries? Are you kind of in the making, or are you completely on the newbie level of boundary setting? Let me know where you think you are. You can either drop me a DM on Instagram at Building Thriving Lifestyles, or use the comments below. Well, this is it for this time on boundaries. But I encourage you, if you found this topic interesting, to stay tuned for further episodes where we're going to cover how you can start small and developing boundaries for yourself. And we're also going to cover how you can kind of start testing out with some things, seeing how they feel and fit for you. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And if there's one thing that I can leave you with, then it's this: make sure to start taking tiny, small, imperfect actions. So if you are feeling motivated after this chat about boundaries, then figure out something that takes you less than 5 minutes, but make sure you do it now while you're feeling motivated. If you want to stay tuned for more information on boundaries, health, and fitness, then make sure to like and subscribe to Building Thriving Lifestyles podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you might listen to content. And I'll see you next time.